According to Klein and Prusik, we can define intellectual capital operationally as intellectual material that has been formalized, captured, and leveraged to produce a higher valued asset. Intellectual capital also can be defined as the sum of everything that everybody in a company knows that gives it a competitive edge, the intellectual material that can be put to use to create wealth.
The invisible intangible part of the balance sheet can be classified as a family of three: individual competence, internal structural, and external structure.
Hello, my name is Lief Atkinson. Me and Pat Sullivan define intellectual capital as knowledge that can be converted into value.
This is a story about two guys, a search engine, $22 billion, and the 5 laws that will help your company grow and prosper in the knowledge era. We need new management concepts because the basis of our economy has changed. The industrial economy is yesterday's model. Today we live in a knowledge economy. No matter what your business, The only path to explosive growth today is by learning to put knowledge to work. Let's see how Google did it. The year was 1995. Larry Page and Sergey Brin were graduate students in math and computer science at Stanford. Larry was looking for a thesis topic. He and Sergey got interested in the emerging internet. Human capital is the foundation of all companies in the knowledge economy, just as it was at Google. Although it was still at an early stage at the time, there was already a lot of information available on the internet, but it wasn't always easy to find. To Larry and Sergey, this was a giant math problem: how to find the interconnections between all the pages of information out there. To perform the math, they built a piece of software, a search engine. They started modeling how to not only find the information on the internet, but to rate its quality and to show the best information first. The Google search engine is a great example of structural capital. When you take what you know and capture it or automate it so that you don't have to do everything by hand, you're essentially building a knowledge factory. It didn't take long for the search engine to attract a lot of people that wanted to find things on the internet. These users were and are the foundation of the relationship capital of the company. Every knowledge business always has some combination of these three components: human, structural, and relationship capital. In fact, this combination was so successful that it blew out the Stanford computers, and they had to move their company to this garage to continue their work. They were nervous to leave their studies, and they were right to worry, because even though their search engine was wildly popular, it was free. There was no money in it for them. But then they got an idea. They realized that advertisers would be really interested in getting their ads in front of people that were searching for what the advertisers sold. We're all used to the idea now, but it was pretty revolutionary at the time. Because until then, advertisers had to broadcast to millions to reach the few that actually needed their product. And this was the golden opportunity for Google. When we model knowledge capital, we actually use gold pieces to represent the way that an organization gets paid. And Google's approach to advertising definitely qualifies as a revenue source. Of course, the advertisers add a new category of relationship capital to the business model. Over the past decade, Google has added people and competencies and resources. They've worked constantly to improve the software. But essentially, it's this simple business model that's enabled the search business to scale to $22 billion last year. Now I know you're looking at this and thinking, these two guys were really smart and really lucky. And you're right, they were. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from them. There are actually 5 powerful lessons here for your business. Number 1, focus on the problem to be solved. These two people didn't set out to create $1 billion empire. They set out to solve a real problem. Probably bigger than they realized at first. But they've never stopped focusing on that problem, which is indexing the knowledge on the internet. Number 2, structural capital is key to scaling and profitable growth. Remember that structural capital is knowledge that's been turned into a repeatable, reusable form. And it actually can be reused infinitely as long as it continues to solve a relevant problem. Which leads us to number 3. The only limit to growth of a knowledge product isn't in how much you can produce, because that's infinitely scalable. It's in the number of people that have that problem and need a solution. But it's important to remember that you may not get paid for all of the value that you create, just as Google doesn't get paid for its search. Finally, every organization must have all 3 kinds of knowledge assets to be viable. A unique combination of human, relationship, and structural capital. that will distinguish you in the market and form the growth factory that will fuel your organization's future. You may not be able to find a problem as big as the Internet search challenge that Larry and Sergey took on, but you can use these 5 laws of knowledge to grow your own business and take advantage of the enormous need for innovation in our economy. And the place to start is by building a model of your knowledge capital.